Hi guys, it's Andy, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for those who have subscribed, and for those who are viewing and watching my videos from time to time. I actually stopped doing this for 2 years because I've been busy, life happened, and a lot of things going on. And then very recently, I stumbled upon the game as I was updating my laptop, and I decided, hey, it's been a while. I haven't really played Battle Realms, and right now, well, for those who are following, what I've been doing is I've been posting a lot of content about different kinds of units of different clans. And what my goal is to show the people that there are different strategies available in Battle Realms. You can be as creative as you can go. There are the skill trees are not being maximized by most players, and it's really fun. It's really a vast material for its time, because you have to understand that Battle Realms it is more than 2 decades old, and the game dates back to the late 90s, and the Winter of the Wolf expansion was actually quite viral at the time, because this was beyond or before the glory days of MMORPG and different kinds of game modes and platforms. So at the time, for PC gamers, Battle Realms was really huge. This was the glory days of RTS, or real-time strategy. So someone messaged me and asked me if I can do a basic tutorial of the lobby screen of Battle Realms for the benefit of those who have recently purchased the game. And I realized that, hey, that's actually not a bad idea. So this is it. You would know that you have the expansion if you're seeing this, the Winter of the Wolf indicator, because otherwise you'll just see Kenji's Journey, Skirmish, and Tutorials. So there's a new addition for the expansion. It's called Greyback's Journey. Greyback is the leader of the Wolf Clan, and his story basically revolves around his pack, who's trying to flee from Lotus territory, from the punishing grasp of Mistress Vayne, Lord Zymoth's mistress. And this is actually it's a long campaign. For those who would like to try it, I encourage that you do so. It's really fun. Kenji's Journey has, you have to make choices along the road, along the way, and sometimes it gets stressful because when you don't get the heroes that you want to be part of your team. But for Greyback's Journey, it's just go with the flow. For me, I play the campaign first before I learn how to skirmish. But for beginners, I recommend skirmish, so that you can play with your friends who already know the game, and you can learn from them by observing how they do things, or you can learn on your own. And let's get to it. So this is a skirmish window. So if you have recently bought the game, the first thing that you want to do is, of course, create your own profile. So this is my profile. It's Andy Dandy. And for those who are wondering, that's just, it's Andy Dandy Notebook Blues Clues plugin. I've been using this username for a while, actually. I think for about 10 years. But going back to 2001, I think my username was Dimensional Onyx. And my League of Legends, oh no, I won't say that. But I've been using a more Jurassic name that has transcended all of my MMORPG years. But anyway, use a name that's close to your heart. And please cope up with me. I'm a bit chatty. Okay, handicap. The first thing you want to do is make sure this is standard, just to be fair, because there are different there's minor and major disadvantage options. Clan I this is actually on default because I love the Serpent Clan. I'm a Musketeer user, and I like using Serpent on slow days. So I just want it on default every time I open the game. Color red because red is the color of the Serpent Clan in the campaign. But of course, there's a color palette available for you. This actually matters only if you're playing with an ally. Um, and of course, these on your left side are the maps. Please, there are mod maps available, but I haven't used them because I'm just scared to break the game, or I'm just not that techie when it comes to installing little things. But I've seen newer maps, but this is actually what comes with the game. You're free to install or add if you know how to tinker it, but all of these should be enough to keep you busy. My personal favorites, this is what you get for default, by the way, the center ring. It's recommended for beginners. It has two entrances for your base. Um, but my favorite is Highland Crossroads because there are small islands where you can build a base on top of it, and it's a wasteland. So, and the map looks big, but it's not that big. It's easy to roam around. My next favorite is Enter the Eruption because of the craters. I like designing my base. Seven Sins Caldera because there's only one entrance and exit, especially this part and this part, my favorite sections. Another is Meteor Mayhem. More craters, but uh, better placements, I would say. I like playing versus seven. It's these maps are for 8 players minus myself, so 7 AI. Sometimes I party them together. Sometimes I don't. But this is the map that I always go for. Okay, so suppose if you've chosen Meteor Mayhem as your default map, you have. Let's go to the game settings part. So starting army, make sure it's large. Um, with a large army, it comes with 4 peasants and 4 starting units. So these are tier one units, depending, of course, of your clan. So there are 2 ranged units and then 2 melee. Um, but you know, you want a large group. Starting resources high. This is the goal that you will be using to build your first peasant hut near the paddy field and the other near the water source. And what I do is, once the peasant hut gets built, the first thing I do is build my own watchtower, just so I can scout immediately if someone's trying to attack me, raid me. And for the early raids, I get my rich resource of yin and yang, which we will be talking about. So horses, make sure it's high if you're into horses, because in most games it depends on your style. Population high. I've never really tried playing with low settings, but that's something I could explore. Rice growth, make sure it's fast. You need a lot of rice, and unless you have a huge paddy field that you can actually manage to have low growth rate. But if you're using the wolf clan, you may want to put Gala, one of the heroes, in the paddy field because she speeds up the growth of the rice. Okay, yin and yang acquisition fast. So yin and yang are the currency, is the currency that we use to um, purchase new skills or summon new heroes. Now, yin and yang is acquired via fighting. You have to. It's either you get them when you're attacked and when you're being attacked and when you kill. Uh, Different, it always involves combat, so you have to actively look for a fight or be ready to defend yourself from one. And then yin and yang automatically uh, accrues. And for yin, it's the lotus and the serpent clan. They're the badass ones. And then Yang is for the dragon and the wolf clan, the noble ones. Okay. Game types. There are four game types in Battle Realms. A lot of people play survival, which is understandable. It's the core, it's the core feature of the game is, of course, for you to build a base. But there are other fun modes that you can try with your friends. Number one is raising. So raising is your goal, your objective is to destroy all enemy buildings. So, for example, you used an 8-man map and there's only two of you playing, and you erase his base already. There are no units. There's nothing there. Not a single soul is alive. But still, the game is pushing through. It could mean that there's an existing building somewhere. It could be a peasant hut, a well. I don't know. Could be as large as a keep or town square. It depends. Kill the keep is, speaking of keep, kill the keep. You start the game with a keep at the center of your base, because you get randomly assigned in the location. But if you kill the keep, you automatically get a keep, and if the keep gets destroyed, you lose. So it doesn't matter how big of an army you have. What's interesting is the keep is actually the most expensive building in the game. So if you have it already, the first you can summon your heroes early, and I like this mode for fun because, of course, I like spooking my friends out with different kinds of strategies that I can think of to easily destroy the keep. And famine, of course. For the famine mode, the population is maxed out. All of the peasants are made available to you, including a couple of starting soldiers. But the catch is you will not produce any more units. So whoever you have and whatever resources you have to make it work somehow. And based on what I also notice is, for the famine mode, the rice is always enough, but the water not so. So you may want to or you may want some of those peasants to keep getting water until your last straw, which is literal, is depleted. So I'm just going to take survival. Game speed. This is important. You would find it there when you purchase the game for the first time, but I feel like, well, this, coming from me, has been playing this game for a long time. I feel like this is still slow, and I just put it here just so it's in the middle of average and great and excellent, rather, because if you max it out, they walk like they're on, they're high on sugar. So you don't want that. Okay, allies nearby. So when you're allied with an AI or your friends, your base would be sitting next to each other. They're adjacent. If not, then you'll be thrown all over the place, randomly. Which is actually, I prefer that. I love handicap for tips, if you need them. Tips and the game's handicap. It's not ticked automatically once you start playing, but I'm sorry, it's ticked automatically when you start, but I don't need a handicap at this point. So let's pretend that we did some changes. You just apply it, you select your profile, and then you go back. How many profiles do I have? Oh, I have Chamba. Okay. This is the main page, so whatever you put in there is automatically displayed here. You don't want to... Well, these guys I don't really bother to touch, but feel free to explore. So, here we can choose the number of teams that we want for a specific skirmish game. And of course, the limit of participants is dependent on the map that you're using. and they get assigned a random colors. So if you want a certain color, you have to unassign them and then get the color for yourself. But I love red, so we're sticking with red. We can give them a clan, or they can go random. This is what I'm talking about earlier. Major disadvantage, minor, it depends. Oh, I stand corrected. So the edit profile section. You know what? This makes me realize that I never really used this part. So I can't remember what it's for. But now, yeah, well, you don't need that. Okay, this is important. So when you're playing with friends, make sure that you have the same team. This is how you play with AI effectively. They have synergy depending on who. So these guys have, let me hover it, right? You see them? They have certain statistics and strategies depending on who is the hero that the team is named after. So these are heroes from different clans, and they have different strategies. Some like it. Some like bombarding bases. Some like building bigger bases. Some like raiding you early on. Some are, they run when they're attacked. I mean, there's a certain kind of intelligence that an AI would have, depending on which hero they represent. But of course, you can always go random just for the element of surprise. And once you're ready, so you can, of course, the map can still be changed on the side, so it doesn't matter. Okay, lastly, you may want to see the difference between the two. If you click this is the original version of the game. A lot of features are not there because it's pretty much basic. Don't make that mistake. Make sure you always click Winter of the Wolf, just so you're playing the expansion. And when you're playing with friends, there's a tick box that says that you're ready to roll, so that when you are ready, you guys can play together. If you don't click the tick box, the game won't start. Okay, so suppose that you've chosen this, and I'm gonna click that just to show you that's a loading screen. And see, this is what I'm telling you. There are 4 starting peasants and 4 starting units. So the first thing that you always do is make a peasant hut. Please excuse my placements right now. I'm just going through it. I'm showing you how I would normally do it. So there's normally someone who's getting water, and the rest are getting some rice. Click on the peasant hut, left click, and then right click on wherever you want them to spawn. Could be a task or could be a location. Okay, this toggle lights up when you create your second building, and you can deselect it so it won't produce peasants. So I always have 2 peasants marked with number 5, just because I've been using it for a while and I'm used to it. I assigned them as those who build, just so you don't always go back and check who can do so and so. So I only have my starting building, which is the peasant hut. And the first thing I actually do is build a watchtower. Why a watchtower? Because the watchtower extends to your line of sight. And once it's done, you can mount a ranged unit, so it amplifies the line of sight further. And you can actually protect yourself from attackers. Some AIs attack early on. It's their strategy to somehow annoy you as you build your base. So this is the musketeer. I'm sending him up the tower. Can you see the detail, considering how different it was back then when this game was still being made? It's just amazing. It never ceases to amaze me. So the musketeer is there. So whoever passes by here and up to here, the musketeer can reach it. One more feature that's really important is the watchtower. Depending on your clan, you have specific skills. And listen to that whistle. If you hear a whistle, it means somebody's about to attack. Okay, look at this. I think this is blue. It's Greyback. Greyback is the leader of the Wolf Clan, and look at their strategy. Their strategy is to burn my building. You see the kind of intelligence that these guys have. It's amazing. So this also happens. So if in case that your building gets destroyed early on, you have to create a another building to protect yourself. Otherwise, your location and the number of units that you have will be exposed. Now, there's a lot of things that you have to pay attention to. So, near the peasants, make sure you can limit them to 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, depends on how much resources you're saving for. This is the rice, the water, the population, and the progress bar that shows when the next peasant will be created. Um, if you toggle this, it'll automatically link to the peasant who's available to serve your bidding. And if you want the peasants to work, just hover over them, left click, hover over them, and right click to a building. You can see what kind of a unit this building produces and the cost. So the basics of real-time strategy. So other stuff, this is the menu, so you can access it by clicking this or clicking escape. And load save options help goals. You click the goals, it's pretty straightforward. For campaigns, it's very important that you always check on the goals, just so you don't miss anything. So quit, resume. This shows the overview of the armies. These are, if you have mic, or if you want to listen, it depends. It's the dynamics of team play. Chat, sound, allies, yada yada, so on and so forth. This is Yin. So as mentioned earlier, Yin is the currency for you to be able to upgrade your units. So let's upgrade one of them. So this is a skill. So each building has 3 skills that you can choose. So you have to be strategic on which ones to upgrade depending on your needs. So just for the sake of this demo, we'll use this Drunken Revelry to improve the damage of the swordsman. And see, from afar, the musketeer is already shooting. It's interesting how why are they carrying the rice bags? Well, anyway, it's interesting how creative or how aggressive this clan is. You can, this is the kind of aggression that I need, because I need to save much gain points early on, so I can build a stronger army. So the next path for the swordsman is the one with 45 ale, because it increases their health. And unfortunately for the swordsman, it ends there. They only have 2 upgrades. Okay, which reminds me, so after battle, if you have an idle soldier, all you need to do is to click them and press O. So they would stand their guard, but they will not actively seek targets. But if they're attacked, they will retaliate. And stand ground. N for ranged units. If you don't want them moving, but you need them to attack, you go for that. Guard is you can assign him to guard someone, most likely a hero, and what they do is they just follow him around automatically. Stop if you need him to stop doing something or stop anything they're doing. F is to specifically target, like for example, stones, trees, and buildings. Huh. And I want to talk about team grouping. So remember how I grouped my peasants. So team 5, mine is team 1. I normally label them as team 1, just so I don't lose track of them. And if you have a skill here, you can train your units to different buildings specifically that specifically upgrades a certain skill, and you're gonna see them here. If you want to toggle them at the same time, it's B. And most importantly, this is the skill tree. So click T, and it'll show you the skill tree. The first the first phase that you're gonna see is all of the buildings and the units they create. So this is actually something that you can memorize along the way. And once you do, you're going to be the master of Battle Realms. So there you go. And then next page, it shows the kind of buildings that unlock certain buildings. So if you want to reach the keep, so you have to make sure that certain establishments are established first. Are it's also something that you can master as you play along. And most definitely, the core of the game is the battle gear, which is unique for every class. There are 2 clans with this many units as well. So if you think about it, Battle Realms is really a gold mine at the time. The creativity and the strategic minds of players used to be so occupied by different kinds of things that we can do with this game. The lower part is reserved for the heroes, so you can see their name and then what they do. It can help you strategize on your final lineup. The next one shows the upgrades per building, and again, yes, it can help you plan a better attack. So that wraps it up. I didn't really create a team, so we're losing right now. But I hope that you are enjoying Battle Realms. So see if something's burning, let's appear, and you click on the peasant, and they're gonna get some water, and they're gonna put out the fire, which is not happening because we're about to lose. And come on, I need the peasant. Okay, this is for repair, for manual repairs. For example, you can start. Oh, come on. You do the repair then. Okay, they're not letting me. Oh, see? He's doing the manual repairs. The last icon is for watering the rice field. So a peasant gets waters the rice field, and hastens the growth of the plant. Okay, so supposing you're done with the game. Oh, by the way, you can tilt it by scrolling with your mouse. So I lost. What a day. Okay, and here's an overview of your achievements. Alright, it brings you back to the main menu, and I hope you enjoy Battle Realms, and I hope you learned something today. I really talk a lot, and this this video could have been shorter, like 10 minutes shorter, but I enjoyed it. I thank you for the one who sent the query, and what I'm gonna do next is walk you through campaigns and different kinds of probably we can probably even play multiplayer, or I don't know, so many things. For options, by the way, you can change game preferences there, controls, credits, load game for your game files, and that's it. Tutorials, I don't want to go there, but you need that for your first run. Okay, so I'm out, and thank you so much for your time. Until next time, take care.